work, Tony.
Making superhero games is already very difficult. Not only do they have all of the typical stressors and difficulties that any other game would have, but they have pre-existing fan bases of comic readers and movie watchers that have a specific idea in their head of what that hero is supposed to do, say, and look like. Plus, it's incredibly difficult to make a good VR game on top of all that. And yet, despite the odds, Iron Man VR absolutely delivers. Developer Camouflage set out to make an Iron Man game that would feel both like an authentic portrayal of Tony Stark and also an original take on the character without rehashing existing story beats. The end result is an entirely captivating and thrilling action game that features an incredible narrative full of standout performances and unexpected twists. The voice cast here, featuring the likes of Josh Keaton and Jennifer Hale to name a couple, is one of the best I've seen in a VR game with excellent character development across the board. But although Hale's performance as Pepper Potts is excellent, she only plays a painfully small part in the overall story. For the vast majority, she is absent, and it feels like a missed opportunity given her great rapport with Keaton Stark.
If you're gonna blow stuff up, at least move away from the fine china.
Iron Man VR is structured like a linear action game with the central hub in the garage of Stark's Malibu, California mansion. From the hub, you can tweak your armor loadout by purchasing new weapons and upgrades with research points, pick missions to go on, explore and play around with things, and do flight and combat challenges. It's a good structure with as much content as I'd expect from a AAA quality game. My playthrough clocked in around 9 hours and felt very well paced. I spent a tiny bit of time doing optional challenges and poking around environments, but if I had tried to unlock everything in the garage and get every single suit design and look for more Easter eggs, it could have easily taken more time. There are also new pieces of content that open up after you finish the game, and there are 3 difficulty modes to pick from. I played on the base normal difficulty and never once died, but it still did feel like a fun challenge. As good as the story is in Iron Man VR though, the real highlight here is how it feels to be Iron Man. I don't think I've ever played a game that embodies feeling and being a superhero so completely. From the superpowered highs to the depressing lows, it really captures that sensation, as well as the mental toll of what goes into having the world riding on your shoulders. Holding the PlayStation Move controllers down by your waist, you tilt them backwards to aim your palms behind you and pull the triggers to engage thrusters and fly. You can drift through the air, stop and turn on a dime, and rocket across the sky while blasting away with the free hand. It feels amazing and takes a lot of practice to get down well, but as cool as it all can feel, it's mostly in spite of the PS Move controllers, not because of. They were outdated in 2016 when the PSVR first launched, and now they're just really showing their age even more. In terms of comfort, it's got what you'd expect with smooth and snap turning and vignette options. Plus, even at full blast, there's always a HUD inside the Iron Man suit that grounds you. They do a great job of making this comfortable even though you're flying through the sky at breakneck speed. Whenever you're not flying, it's a node-based teleportation system, which is a bit odd, but it's fine because you don't spend much time there unless it's for narrative breaks. At first I was worried combat would get extremely repetitive, but there's a lot of customization and nuance here. You start the game with basic repulsor beams and smart missiles, then you can unlock lots of different weapons back at the garage that add a ton of variety. The HUD design is excellent too, with a great sense of immersion that really sells the idea that you're actually wearing the suit and not just controlling it from afar. It's about all the small attentions to detail, like the miles per hour gauge and Tony's breath on the visor when he first puts it on. To its credit, Iron Man VR really does feel like it's pushing the PSVR to its limits, and in a lot of ways it underscores the need for a PS5. Despite what the developers say about designing the game around the PSVR and PS Move controllers, I can't help but feel like it would have been so much better on a headset with higher resolution and more horsepower to eliminate all those jagged edges. Even playing on a PS4 Pro, I noticed them. There are no wires to avoid tripping hazards on other headsets like the Oculus Quest, and you're constantly spinning in this game, so it just always gets in the way. And better control so I didn't have to participate in mental gymnastics to remember which buttons do what. The mapping is really confusing because things like rotating, punching, hovering, spinning around 180 or unibeam, all those use face buttons that are all right next to each other, and you can't really see or know where your thumbs are when you're wearing a headset, so it was still confusing even after nearly 10 hours of playtime. The absolute worst parts about Iron Man VR though, something that has zero concessions to make them not so bad, are the load times. I cannot stress enough how brutal some of these load times are. Several minutes on end, over and over, multiple times per mission. It is frankly ridiculous, and it really gets in the way of the game's flow. Despite those few setbacks though, Iron Man VR is an absolute triumph. Camouflage absolutely delivered a AAA quality campaign-driven VR game featuring one of the world's most iconic superheroes, all while showcasing him in a new light with an original story that is not weighed down by the baggage of the MCU and the comics that came before. Flying as Iron Man feels amazing, talking to characters as Tony Stark is full of wit and humor, and from top to bottom, it's an exhilarating and well-paced adventure that feels like it only grazes the surface of how high this developer can fly in VR. Thanks for watching our review of Marvel's Iron Man VR for PSVR. The game launches on July 3rd. Make sure and check out our other Iron Man videos here on YouTube, and for everything else virtual reality, stay tuned to Upload VR.